kuongea na nyinyi kidogo. Kuna mambo ya wewe mheshimiwa, lazima tujue shamba ni la nani, manake tutakanyaga mashamba kidogo, na hiyo nilikuwa na avoid kusema hiyo nisiingie, manake nikianza hiyo itachukua muda na itaweza haribu program, hiyo itakuja baadaye.
The residents were not left behind to illustrate the excitement.
Mambo ya stima tunaitaka sana, tulikuwa tunashinda mingi huku kijijini. Haya, mambo ya security, kama hakuna stima hatungeweza kuwa nayo. Sasa na kama stima sitakuja, tutakuwa waangalifu na kuweka kinyozi, saloon na kuchunga kuku. Mambo mingi sana inatakikana stima.
Nimefurahi na mkoji juu ametuletea stima. Sasa hii Kiandubi itakuwa town. Tumejenga majumba lakini haina watu. Sasa tunaona watu watakuja juu stima imeingia.
Charles, Lookuptv.
Now, the government and stakeholders in the education sector are alarmed about the high number of students in northern Kenya province who failed to report to Form 1 and junior secondary schools. They just concluded Form 1 transition period. Over 4,000 students are reported to have failed to report to their respective schools with scanty information on their whereabouts. Henry Tende with more on this story.
As the curtain falls on the Form 1 reporting exercise across the country, government officials and education stakeholders in northeastern Kenya are a worried lot. This after statistics revealed over 4,000 students have failed to take up their positions in various secondary schools and their whereabouts unknown.
We cannot have a situation where over 40% of those who are supposed to be in grade 7 are still at home. About close to 18% in the region of those who are supposed to be in Form 1 are still at home.
Figures into the three counties of Garissa, Wajir and Mandera depict a sorry state of an education sector that needs radical reforms. Of the 26,926 students who were expected to report to various secondary schools, only 22,462 have reported to their respective schools. Questions now abound on the whereabouts of 4,464 students yet to report, with scanty information of what might have happened to them.
We are going to start or launch a mop-up exercise to make sure that all the students, all the pupils who are still at home go to school.
Garissa County is the most affected. Of the 10,120 students who sat for the KCPE exams and were expected to join high school, only 6,491 have reported, with 3,629 unaccounted for.
Each and every chief and assistant chief will be providing a daily data on the number of pupils and students who have been mopped up and have been taken to school, so that within 1 week we can be able to achieve 100% transition.
The information also indicates only 83.4% of students have transitioned to junior secondary.
No reason whatsoever that would make a child not to go to school. The government has provided the capitation to schools, and the regional director is here, will confirm that. So we don't want to hear stories that there are certain levies, unofficial levies, being demanded by the respective schools that deter the children to go to school.
With the government insistent on 100% transition, the education stakeholders agree there is an urgent need to address reasons that have affected the said students. Henry Tendanyula, Lookuptv.
Right, let's move on now. Now, the family of Sami Kiratu in Dandora, Nairobi, is appealing for justice in what they term as inhumane treatment by police after he was discharged from Mamaluzi Hospital. Before treatment, Sami had been admitted with a bullet in his pelvic bone, which he sustained from a confrontation with a police officer who accused him of threatening his second wife, and was set for surgery in the facility. The family wants their kin to be allowed to seek treatment as he is not in a stable condition.
Actually, the senator comes number 2. They are the first line of the oversight. So they are the ones now who should look at those allegations, those conducts, and ensure that now they do that impeachment or whatever motion. And I'm sure the Nakuru people will support. You can imagine how much we've suffered for 1 year. What about now the rest of the 4 years remaining? I think Nakuru will be gone by then. So we need now to act and ensure that things go the right way. So the MCAs to do their part and ensure that the governor does her work the way it's supposed to be done. Instead of the governor implementing any serious plans she may have for the War Memorial Facility, if there is any genuineness and seriousness for work, she goes on to close War Memorial Hospital, the only hospital which means international standards, equivalent to the Nairobi Hospital and the Aga Khan Hospital. We sincerely sympathize with the patients and their next of kin, doctors, and the workers and the investors. We pray that God gives them endurance and power to overcome. Sadly, a lot of people have died since 28 October 2023 following the disruption of War Memorial Hospital by the county government led by Her Excellency Susan Kihika. Her Excellency Governor Susan Kihika took office. She has been undermining other elected leaders and calling them names in front of the people who elected them. She has been undermining our efforts and especially my oversight role. I thought she would appreciate the senator's role. Since she was my predecessor, but instead she's rubbishing my role day in, day out.
I do apologize for that mistake. That particular story then is on the Memorial Hospital in Nakuru, yes. Now let's continue then, and I'm going to take that story again. The family of Sami Kiratu in Dandora, Nairobi is appealing for justice in what they term as an inhumane treatment by police officers after he was discharged from Mama Lucy Hospital before treatment. Sami had been admitted with a bullet in his pelvic area, which he sustained from a confrontation with a police officer who accused him of threatening his second wife and was set for surgery in the facility. The family wants their kin to be allowed to seek treatment as he is not in a stable condition.
Early morning at Mama Lucy Hospital, irate family members and friends of Sami Kiratu, a patient who had been admitted in the hospital with a bullet in his pelvic area, had questions on how the situation of the patient was handled. The angry locals converged at the facility to stop police from discharging Sami, who had been scheduled for a surgery that was cancelled without any explanation to the family.
Sasa sisi tuliitiwa kama ako amelazwa hosi. Sisi tukakuja. Tukapata alishutiwa Sunday usiku. Saturday usiku ikikucha asubuhi. Sasa tukaambiwa ameletwa huku ndio aweze kutolewa bullet. Tukakaa kutoka hiyo Sunday, tukakuja tukaambiwa tumpeleke x-ray, tulete CT scan, na tukaenda tukalipa na tukaleta. Kuleta ikasemekana result itatoka hiyo siku, itatoka on Monday. Si tukagojea Monday. Na wakati tulikuwa tunatoka tulikuwa tumeambiwa anaweza tolewa hata usiku. Asubuhi tu tutapata ametolewa ati daktari atapatikana usiku.
On Friday 19th of January, Sami is said to have been in a club when a civilian police officer went to arrest him over threatening to kill his second wife, accusations that have not been confirmed yet. The confrontation thereafter left Sami with a bullet in his pelvic area.
Huyu kijana anafanya kazi ya Uber, ya taxi. Na simu hizi hana record ya wizi hata moja. Sisi tunajua yeye ni mzuri. Kama kuna makosa ingine ile sisi hatujui iko. Hatuwezi kata na hatuwezi kusema ana makosa kwa sababu kama ana makosa ingine ya kando hatuwezi kujua. Tunataka akitoka hapa awe ametibiwa, asiende na risasi kwa station. Sio akienda na risasi kwa station, anaenda kufanya nini? Atalala namna gani? Atalala wapi?
According to Cecilia Nyambura, the sister to Sami, the brother is not in a stable condition and therefore needs to be treated.
Huyu mtu anarudishwa sel na akona risasi kwa mguu. Atakuwa analetwa aje nini na huko atakaa aje, na hata kutembea hawezi tembea, hata kumtoa walikuwa wamesukuma gari wamtoe hiyo kitanda, wamtoe na kitanda wamweke kwa gari.
However, according to OCPD for Buruburu Francis Ngugi Kamau, who refused to give his remarks on camera, the taxi driver has a case to answer at Makadara Law Courts, in which he not only threatened his wife but also assaulted a police officer on duty. The unclear circumstances under which Sami was discharged from the hospital with a bullet in his body for more than 3 days leaves a question of where is humanity. Beatrice Ilavonga, Lookuptv.
Right, non-officials from the Kenya Ports Authority have been arraigned over fraud allegations involving a tender worth 62 million shillings. The 9 who were arrested Tuesday denied 10 charges leveled against them and were released on a 2 million shillings bail. John Matava with more.
9 officials from the Kenya Ports Authority, KPA, have been brought before the Mombasa court on allegations of involvement in corruption related to a contract worth 62 million Kenyan shillings.
The first accused, that is Robert Bosuben, appears in 8 of the 10 counts. The third accused person, Eid Arube Nanyang, in 4 of the counts. Or the second, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th accused persons are facing 1 count each.
The accused, including Yobe Shoyaro, David Angwenyi, Nora Mugambi, Adhanase Wambari, Robert Bosuben, Azanath Kwamboka Mageto, Rose Cherotich, Eid Arube Nanyang, and David Arika, were arrested by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and appeared before the Chief Magistrate Alex Iduku this morning to face 10 charges, which they denied.
They pleaded not guilty, of course. Bond in this case has not been opposed by the state. It's also a right. The only right that was that it be reasonable and commensurate to the charges. I've looked at all the counts. I've also considered the law and the policy on the issue of bond.
The charges include wastage of public property, money laundering, fraudulent contract acquisition, and falsification of documents through deceitful means.
For the first, second, and fourth accused persons, the terms are they will be released on bond at Kenya shillings 2 million. That is a bond of 2 million shillings with 1 surety of similar amount each. In the alternative, each of the accused persons will pay cash bail in the sum of Kenya shillings 500,000.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
Azimio leader Raila Amolo Odinga has told off ODM members who have started early campaigns. He further urged party members to stop criticizing elected leaders and give them time to deliver to Kenyans. Raila was speaking to ODM delegates in a meeting in Malindi, Kilifi County, where thousands joined the party, ditching RUTO's UDA and Kingi's PAA.
As succession politics continue to take center stage in the country, barely 3.5 years to the general election, just a day after President William Ruto cautioned leaders against early campaigns, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has today slammed elected leaders engaging in politics, calling them to prioritize service delivery.
Hii mambo ya kuanza mambo ya campaign mapema. Kampeni ya mapema. Tumetoka kwa uchaguzi juzi. Sasa bado tu uchaguzi ambao inakuja ni 2027. Bado tumebaki na miaka 4 mpaka uchaguzi mwingine. Mambo ya kuanza campaign mapema ni kitu mbaya. Maana kinagawanya chama.
Speaking during an ODM registration drive in Kilifi County, Odinga rubbished the talks between President Ruto and Chief Justice Martha Koome, while calling on President RUTO to fight corruption within his administration before questioning the judiciary.
Hii mambo ambayo inaendelea ya serikali kuu kutisha mahakama. Ati mahakama mpaka ifanye vile inavyotaka. Wanasema ati kuna ufisadi ndani ya mahakama. Kuna ufisadi kubwa zaidi ndani ya serikali kuu. Na inajulikana. Hakuna chochote ambayo wamefanya huku. Sasa wanafanya mkutano ya kisiri kwenye ikulu. Nimesema hii ni udanganyifu.
Odinga also took issue with the National Assembly over what he termed as being held hostage by the executive, questioning why the August House would pass bills from the executive without proper scrutiny.
Legislature imekuwa captive. Wabunge wanapitisha kila kitu ambayo inatoka kwa ikulu. Hakuna chochote ambayo inabadilishwa huko. There's no debate in the current parliament. Bills come from wherever they come, and they come into parliament. The speaker decree that they must be passed within the next 2 hours. There's no debate. You cannot discuss a bill within 2 hours.
Ian Keitane, Lookuptv.
Almost reading from the same script. There's a similar warning that we did see the other day from President Dr. William RUTO, PhD. This is what William RUTO said, and I quote, "We thought it would be a good thing for us to mentor these young leaders within the party. But if they continue to push against DP Rigathi Gachagua, then we'll be forced to change our plan." Directly addressing Dili Nyoro and his 15 friends, at least those who come forward to say they want to support him for presidency in 2027 and also make him the kingpin in Mount Kenya region. We'll leave it there. There's a meeting that was supposed to happen today. It was a break or make meeting within the ODM coalition. Guess what? It didn't happen. And part of that reason is what Raila Amolo Odinga is addressing. His biggest ally, Junet, people feel is not needed in our party. So this morning we table that particular conversation, man. What is really going on in these two coalitions? Remember, UDA grassroots elections were supposed to happen last December. That is in 2023. They were postponed. Our meeting, the make or break meeting that was supposed to happen within the Azimio coalition, has also been postponed, almost reading from the same script. So the question that I'm asking this morning is that are there cracks within these particular coalitions? And if so, where are they coming from? Why early as we look forward to 2027? Much more to talk about. We're also going to throw light in what is now a simmering battle between Kihika and her senator. What's going on? I'll be introducing the panel that is joining us, that has already joined us in the studio as we table that conversation. See you after the break.
Nashukuru sana kwa tatua tatu. Kama hizo pesa zinaweza fikia walemavu kama sisi, lazima watu wabarikiwe.
Maisha imekuwa mbaya sababu nilikuwa nafanya kazi kwa klabu nyingine inaitwa Suitable hapa town Thika. Sasa wakati corona iliingia, hiyo vilabu ilifungwa. Kwa hii Sakura mimi nimeshukuru sana.
Nashukuru sana. Nasema mubarikiwe mpaka watu waboeke.
Leo nimefurahia sana kwa sababu hata tupate chakula nyumbani. Leo nimefurahia hata mama pia nyumbani ndampelekea furahi.
Asante sana tatua tatu, na tutaanza kucheza na tutazidi sana pia kucheza.
What about mambo fantastic if not scholastic? Chota kuchota na Hatia Supermarket imerudi. Ukifanya tu shopping ya shilingi 1,000, wewe unaingia kwa promotion ya chota kuchota na Hatia Supermarket. Watu wanaendelea kushinda ndani ya Hatia Supermarket. Mwana tata kitoko. Wewe na umeshinda nini? Sasa karibu ndani ya Hatia Supermarket uweze kuchota kwa wingi kabisa. Watu wanasema nini? Nakwambia kwamba chota kuchota. Unangoja nini?
Magari 7 za kushindaniwa, TV, fridge, microwave, shopping vouchers, school fees vouchers, instant prizes na zawadi zingine kemkem. Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Hetia's Oven Fresh Bakery, Gigabyte, Mount Kenya Milk, Clover's Food Products, Velvex, Magic Drink, Pwani Oil, Arenco, Fruit Juice, Master Chef, Toilex, Coolsip, Mika, Wash Ultra, Philos, Pristol, Nivea, My Choice, Ushindi, Fresh Fry, Arimis Jelly, Cabernet Water, Dettol, Ketepa, Meta, Glucose, Coca-Cola, Rosy Tissue, Big Giant, Elbins, Unilever, Fresh, Unga wa Dola, Blue Band na Pasta Star. Shindano la chota kuchota linaanza tarehe 1 Disemba hadi tarehe 10 Februari mwaka 2024.
Hatia Supermarket, a world of choice.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Are you
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park, fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
A simple question that we're asking this morning: are there cracks that are already appearing in the coalitions, that is within the Azimio coalition and the Kenya Kwanza coalition? Reading from the same script, there was a meeting that was supposed to happen today to talk to the party members within that particular coalition. It has not gone through because all of a sudden there are feuds that have come to the fore that need to be settled before you bring all those party members together. Last year, you do remember the grassroots elections for the UDA party were also postponed basically on the same ground, that there were feuds within that particular party that needed to be solved before you bring them together for a single cause. As it looks now, Raila Amolo Odinga is speaking, and he was speaking yesterday, almost immediately after President Dr. William RUTO also spoke about succession politics at this particular point. In fact, he did say it's too early to talk about 2027 elections. Raila Amolo Odinga, same thing. It's too early to talk about 2027 elections, and both of them are defending a man in those collisions. DP is getting the defense from his boss, and a man was considered as a key figure within the Azimio collision is also getting defended. Junet. Questions were easy. What was his role then in the downfall of the Azimio coalition in that particular election? And are we reading too much? Or, like they say, it is what it is. Let's open it like this then. Raila Amolo Odinga was speaking yesterday. Let's take a look at that particular story. Come back and introduce the guests who are joining us this morning and also table the conversation. Let's take a look.
To take center stage in the country, barely 3.5 years to the general election. Just a day after President William RUTO cautioned leaders against early campaigns, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has today slammed elected leaders engaging in politics, calling them to prioritize service delivery.
Hii mambo ya kuanza mambo ya campaign mapema. Kampeni ya mapema. Tumetoka kwa uchaguzi juzi. Sasa bado tu uchaguzi ambao inakuja ni 2027. Bado tumebaki na miaka 4 mpaka uchaguzi mwingine. Mambo ya kuanza campaign mapema ni kitu mbaya. Manake inagawanya chama.
Speaking during an ODM registration drive in Kilifi County, Odinga rubbished the talks between President RUTO and Chief Justice Martha Koome, while calling on President RUTO to fight corruption within his administration before questioning the judiciary.
Hii mambo ambayo inaendelea ya serikali kuu kutisha mahakama. Ati mahakama mpaka ifanye vile inavyotaka. Wanasema ati kuna ufisadi ndani ya mahakama. Kuna ufisadi kubwa zaidi ndani ya serikali kuu. Na inajulikana. Hakuna chochote ambayo wamefanya huku. Sasa wanafanya mkutano ya kisiri kwenye ikulu. Nimesema hii ni udanganyifu.
Odinga also took issue with the National Assembly over what he termed as being held hostage by the executive, questioning why the August House would pass bills from the executive without proper scrutiny.
Legislature imekuwa captive. Wabunge wanapitisha kila kitu ambayo inatoka kwa ikulu. Hakuna chochote ambayo inabadilishwa huko. There's no debate in the current parliament. Bills come from wherever they come, and they come into parliament. The speaker decree that they must be passed within the next 2 hours. There's no debate. You cannot discuss a bill within 2 hours.
Ian Keitane, Lookuptv.
That's it then. Let me introduce the guests who are joining us this morning. We do have Winfred Asiko, who is a Senate candidate 2022 Kakamega. How are you doing, Asiko?
Thank you.
Happy to have you around. We also do have with us Kennedy Odoyo, who is a leadership and governance expert. How are you doing, sir? Happy to have you around. We also do have Mudhiora Kariara, who is a presidential running mate was a presidential running mate in the 2017 elections as an independent. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Happy to have you around.
I'm glad to
In fact, let me begin with you because I've introduced you last then.
Yeah.
Let's begin with what it is within the Azimio coalition. There was a meeting that was slated for today.
Yeah.
In fact, we got the invitations as the media. We were told for you to come in and help us cover that particular event would highly appreciate. Up to last evening, when again, those particular messages that we got, there's another message that came in, and we were told, please the meeting that was slated for today has been cancelled. We kept on reading as to why that particular meeting will be cancelled, because all the delegates were actually invited for that particular meeting. Then we start to hear talks of how now there are Jeanette, not just him, but many more who they think bundles the 2022 election need to be out. Question is, are there cracks within the Azimio coalition as it is right now?
Let me open by reminding our viewers that we are not as serious as a country as we have imagined ourselves to be.
Yes.
Our constitution states that we are a multi-party democratic state. So the foundation of our existence is democracy. Now, democracy, they say, is the rule by the majority. So people are supposed to come together and decide how they're going to be governed. And in that formation, we have political parties. And political parties ideally belong to citizens. People register and they decide the affairs of a party. So Azimio coalition is an amalgamation of parties that came together. Now, lately, we've seen cracks. They are not imagined cracks. There have been disagreements within boardrooms, and then they now can't hide them within the boardrooms. We've seen very public spats between the top officials. There was Karua and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka over some political formation that some support, others are opposed to. We know Eugene Wamalwa is not sitting pretty. And of course, Baba, being the statesman, is trying to keep it together. So these cracks are there, and I'm not surprised. Since 2002, we know no coalition has survived after an election. In 2007, we had different players. In 2013, we had a different formation. So there was COD, there was NASA, and then there was Azimio. So as we head towards 2027, let's not kid ourselves that Azimio is going to survive. These are the signs that Azimio has done its time. It's a point where we have to move on. Now, I gave a background about how we are supposed to govern ourselves. And it's because I wanted us to look back and see when was the last time that ODM, which is the biggest party within the Azimio, it was during the infamous men in black suits in Kasarani. That's when they attempted to have some form of election so they can, through the due process, put in people into office. That exercise failed back then. So all along, they've been giving band-aid kind of service to how properly. Because Azimio had the 2022 election to themselves to lose, and they lost. So culpability should be laid on those that dropped the ball. And clearly nobody has taken responsibility. So if members feel certain people do not belong in the offices they hold, they should be allowed to express themselves.
Yeah. I mean, we've had developments all the way up to where we are right now. We're going to talk about it. Kalonzo is already claiming stake. Mother Karua would like to claim stake as well. The bigger players within our party that are saying, well, if we're going to go into a meeting, we've got to know what our position is within this party. Mudiora, I'll be coming back to you on that. Asiko, let me also throw the same question to you. Are there cracks already? I mean, if there was supposed to be a meeting and then the meeting doesn't happen, it was a break or make meeting, but the meeting is essentially called off. I mean, as we stand right now, we don't know whether they called it off or postponed it. Because if you postpone, then you give a particular date when this is going to happen. Since we have no date, it will be proper for us to say they completely called it off. Is that where you start reading these cracks within that particular coalition?
Kenyans, that with these harsh economic times, we are already discussing about succession politics. Instead of focusing on service delivery, instead of discussing politics all the time. Call formation. So at the top of that political way from the media, you don't need to hide because you feel like, oh, I'm the one who made us lose this presidential election. But why are you hiding? Why are you not open? Why are you not defending your party? This is something that really needs to be addressed by Azimio. So to me, the meeting being called off was okay because people don't trust each other there. See? So it is a confused conglomerate. That is what I can say. And they need to put their house in order before they can come to address Kenyans. Yes. And even if they will be coming to address Kenyans, they should come up with key agendas that will be addressing the issues affecting Kenyans. They don't have to come up with issues that they will make us feel like, why these people politicking right now when all Kenyans are in an economic crisis. Yes.
Pretty much, I'll be coming back to you on that. You're making sense of, if as a political leader, I come out to defend a key figure in the 2022 elections, is that enough for us to say, you're defending him because you know exactly what it is? If Raila Amolo Odinga says UNET is within this coalition strongly as he was in 2022, is he still there? Why is Raila Amolo Odinga defending UNET? What has UNET done to warrant the defense? I think I'll be coming to you on that. Let me get the introduction of Kennedy as well. Kennedy, how are you doing again? I mean, when you read the signs that we're seeing right now, Kalonzo Musyoka is already saying, my party is fronting me as the coalition leader in 2027 elections. There are other people within that particular coalition who are also not so sure who they're going to support and where they're going to put their support. Are those cracks enough? And if you go by this meeting that has been called off that was supposed to happen today, remember it was called a break or make meeting. When you call it off, are you reading so much division within the party where you as the leader says, well, I can't put them in the same room until at least I let it settle?
Good morning to our viewers and Happy New Year. From where I sit, I would say democracy from a Socratic perspective was supposed to be something philosophical that is driven by ideas. It was about people coming together to mobilize ideas.
Yes.
Contradict, it's called, you find a way of critically analyzing and contradicting each other. So that the majority, what I call the ideologically superior, carry the day. Unfortunately, what we adopted is democracy just by numbers. And that's why you realize that when you are talking about these cracks originate from the fact that our politics is ideologically immature. So we realize, because we are so much hinged on numbers, numbers come with stomachs to feed and egos to massage. So when you realize in a coalition, there are many stomachs to feed and there are many egos to massage. So anytime anyone feels that their ego is threatened, their space on the table is not secure or guaranteed,
yes,
you realize that there will be those simmers. And when there are those simmers, you realize that politics is organized in such a way that when we are in a coalition, we are supposed to speak with one face, one language. When you see such a meeting being called off at the last minute, it simply means there are some faces that they didn't want Kenyans to see. Because my brother, I'm telling you, we can call a press conference. We can all be smiling, but we can know a genuine smile and the one that is fake. So at the last minute, you realize that there is something you're supposed to say. One is supposed to clap, but when you realize that there's someone who is likely not to clap, then it might paint a picture that is not expected of the coalition at that time.
Yes.
And you realize we are at a point where, as an opposition, which actually shouldn't be existing, because we no longer have an opposition constitutionally, they are in a situation where they have they threw themselves in the mud in 2022. They are trying to walk themselves out, but they don't have enough on the table for the stomachs and the egos. So you realize, and that's why everyone is trying to muscle around for their own space. That table is no longer enough. But there's a table somewhere that either you can get a space, but your ego cannot allow you to publicly walk onto that table. So you realize there are the underhand deals that go on behind the scenes. We usually say we are demonstrating during the day, but we are walking on our knees at night to the same people we are demonstrating against. So basically, that's just what happens when we are in a coalition of competing ideas and people, all that. So those are normal things that happen, and like my